Welcome to Monk's Temple. Hello, dear friend. I'm so glad you found your way here. Come in, settle in. This space is for you. For the next 3 hours, we are going to do something very simple, yet profoundly life-changing. We are going to remember how to stop. Not just physically, but in the very depths of your being. If you've come here carrying weariness, a mind that won't quiet, a heart that feels restless, or a body holding the weight of countless days, you are exactly where you need to be. You don't need to believe anything special. You don't need to sit in a perfect pose. You just need to be willing to listen, and to breathe. This is an invitation. An invitation to come home to this moment, and to discover that everything you have been searching for has been right here, waiting for your arrival. Before we begin, I'd love it if you'd share in the comments where you're listening from, and what this moment feels like for you. There's a beautiful comfort in knowing we are pausing together, all across the world, united in this quiet intention for peace. And if what you hear today resonates, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. It helps this gentle space grow, and allows me to share these teachings with more hearts like yours. Now, let's begin. Find a position that feels deeply comfortable to you. Perhaps lying down, enveloped by your bed. Or sitting in a chair that holds you fully. Allow your eyes to close, or let your gaze soften on something peaceful in the room. Feel the support beneath you. The earth, the floor, the furniture, they are holding you now. You can let go. You can rest your weight completely. Take a breath, slow and gentle. And as you exhale, feel a softening around the edges of your effort. We are not here to achieve, to fix, or to become someone new. We are here to remember what we have always been. The first story, the carpenter's bench. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I spent time in a small mountain temple. There was an old carpenter there, a layman who had been coming to the temple for 60 years. His hands were gnarled and strong, maps of a lifetime of work. One afternoon, I watched him planing a piece of cypress wood for a new bench. He worked with a rhythm that was unhurried, utterly absorbed. Each pull of the plane sent a curl of wood, fragrant and golden, spiraling to the floor. The sound was a long, sighing whisper, followed by a moment of silence as he checked the grain, his fingers brushing the newly smooth surface. Then again, I must have watched for 20 minutes, captivated. There was no getting to the finished bench. There was only this pull, this breath, this whisper of wood. He wasn't fighting the wood, forcing it to be flat. He was in a deep conversation with it, listening to its resistance, feeling its give. He was completely arrived in the act of planing. When he finally put the plane down and stood back, his face held a quiet, settled smile. The bench was not yet done, but in that moment, it was perfect. He turned to me and said, "People think my work is to make benches. My real work is to meet the wood in each shaving. The bench is just what's left behind." That day, the old carpenter taught me more about meditation than any scripture. Our practice is not about creating a perfect state of mind, a flawless peace. It is about meeting this shaving of experience, this breath, this sound, this feeling, with our full attention. The peace is what's left behind when we stop trying to build a future moment and simply meet the one we're in. This is the heart of the Buddhist path, to stop running from life, and to start meeting it. The Buddha didn't teach a way out of life. He taught a way fully into it, a way to dwell so completely in the here and now that our struggles lose their grip. We are going to explore that way together. Most of us live as if we are ships on a perpetual, stormy voyage. We are always heading for a destination called someday. Someday I'll be happy. Someday I'll be at peace. Someday I'll have figured it out. We brace against the waves of our current troubles, gaze fixed on the horizon, ignoring the very nature of the sea that carries us. We forget that the ship itself is made of the same water it sails upon. The Buddhist invitation is radical: you don't need to reach a different shore to find peace. You need to realize you are already the harbor. The stillness, the safety, the home you seek is not a geographical location in your future. It is the fundamental nature of your awareness, right here, right now. It is the capacity to be with the waves, not destroyed by them, because you are also the deep, still water beneath. Let's try a tiny experiment. For just the next 30 seconds, I invite you to do nothing. Not nothing while you plan dinner, but a committed, gentle nothing. Let go of any project to feel a certain way. Drop the attempt to relax. Simply notice what is already present. The feeling of the air on your skin. The subtle sounds in the room. The rise and fall of your chest. Don't alter it. Just be the harbor, receiving the sensations as ships coming in to rest. There is nowhere to go. Nothing to become. You are here. Feel that? Even for a flicker. That slight release of internal pressure. That is the beginning of wisdom. In Pali, the language of the earliest Buddhist texts, this is called yatha buddhananadasana, seeing things as they actually are. Not through the filter of our worries, our memories, our hopes, but directly. The harbor doesn't think about the ships, it simply holds them. You don't need to think your way into peace, you need to allow the peace that exists when thinking settles. The beautiful verse is one doorway. Let me offer you another, from the same deep well of Buddhist tradition. It is a simple phrase you can carry in your pocket, a lantern for dark or busy moments. Rooted in the earth. Open to the sky. Here, I rest. Let's explore it. Rooted in the earth. Feel your body right now. The points of contact, your feet on the floor, your seat on the chair, your back against the support. These are your roots. Your physical form is your anchor in the present moment. Your mind can time travel, but your body is always, irrevocably, now. When anxiety comes, it often feels like being a leaf in a hurricane. The practice is to remember you are not the leaf, you are the tree. Feel your roots descending through the floor, into the ground, drawing up a deep, steady stability. You are supported by the planet itself. You belong here. Open to the sky. This is the quality of your awareness, of your heart. While your body is grounded, your awareness is vast, spacious, clear. Like the sky, it can hold everything, passing clouds of thought, storms of emotion, the brilliant sun of joy, the dark night of fear. The sky is not harmed by any of these. It doesn't cling to the pretty clouds or fight the storms. It simply provides infinite space for the weather of your life to play out. Can you feel that capacity in yourself? The space between your thoughts? The stillness behind your heartbeat? That is your sky nature. Here, I rest. This is the culmination. Not rest as collapse, but rest as a conscious, dignified homecoming. You are not resting from something, but resting in something, in your own rooted, open presence. This is the healing pause where the body repairs, the mind integrates, the soul remembers itself. Try it with me, as a slow whisper, synchronized with your breath. Pause. Inhale, rooted in the earth. Pause. Exhale, open to the sky. Pause. Inhale, here. Pause. Exhale, I rest. Beautiful. This is your practice. It can be done in 3 seconds while waiting for a traffic light, or for 30 minutes in silent sitting. It realigns you with the axis of the present. I inherited my grandfather's old pocket watch. It's brass, tarnished, with a glass face that's slightly cracked. For years, it sat on my shelf as a keepsake. One difficult period, when my mind was a vortex of planning and panic about the future, I would find myself staring at it. One day, I picked it up. I popped the cover. And I did something I'd never done, I listened. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The sound was impossibly clear, utterly confident. Each tick was a perfect, self-contained moment. It held no memory of the previous tick. No anxiety about the next tock. It was simply this sound. This mechanical heartbeat. I realized this watch had been doing this for 80 years. Through wars, through love stories, through my grandfather's entire life and now into mine, it had only ever done one thing: be completely, faithfully, present for the current tick. My frantic mind, trying to manage 1,000 future moments, was like a child trying to grab all the ticks and tocks at once, exhausting itself. The wisdom of the watch, and this is a very Buddhist understanding, was its total commitment to the moment it was in. Its purpose wasn't to reach 8 o'clock, its purpose was to be fully a tick, and then fully a tock. Life, in its essence, is the same. We miss our life trying to manage the timeline, instead of living the moment. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, clinging to what's pleasurable, pushing away what's painful, and ignoring the rest. My mind was attached to a certain future outcome, and it was causing me immense suffering. The watch had no attachments. It just ticked. When I felt overwhelmed, I began to take it out and listen. I'd synchronize my breath with its rhythm, inhale on the tick, exhale on the tock. It became my meditation teacher, a tiny, metallic bell of mindfulness reminding me, you only ever have to be here for this one. Just this one. The habit of leaning forward. Look at your own posture right now, in your mind. Not your physical posture, but the posture of your attention. Are you leaning forward? Leaning toward the next thing, the next hour, the next day? Most of us are. We live in a psychic forward lean. Our energy is projected into an imagined future, which means we are perpetually absent from the present. It's like trying to rest while standing on a steep hill, it requires constant tension. Buddhist psychology has a precise term for this, papanka, often translated as mental proliferation or conceptual elaboration. A simple sensation arises, a tightness in the shoulder. The untrained mind doesn't just note tightness. It proliferates. This pain means I'm working too hard. I need a new chair. If my back goes out, I'll miss work. What will my boss think? I'll never get promoted. From one sensation, we spin a vast, stressful story about the future. We have leaned so far forward we've fallen out of our own body. The healing practice is the practice of uprighting. Coming back to vertical. Coming back to now. It's not a fight against thoughts. It's a gentle disengagement from the story, and a return to the raw sensation. Ah, tightness. Breathe into it. Feel its edges, its texture. Be with the suchness of the tightness, not the catastrophic novel you wrote about it. Each time you do this, you weaken the habit of papanka and strengthen the muscle of presence. You come home. Imagine a vast, ancient library. This library contains every single moment of your life, past, present, and future, each one bound in its own unique book. Most of us spend our days frantically in the archives, rereading the books of past regrets or mistakes, their pages tear-stained and worn. Or we're in the speculative fiction section, writing and rewriting terrible novels about the future, filled with disasters and disappointments that haven't happened. The main reading room, the one containing the single, luminous book of this moment, is empty. Dust settles on its lectern. You have within you a librarian. This is your mindful awareness. The librarian's job is not to burn the other sections, but to gently, patiently, guide you back to the main reading room. When you find yourself lost in the dark stacks of worry, you'll feel a soft tap on your shoulder. It's the librarian. She doesn't scold. She simply whispers, "The book you need is on the lectern." And she leads you back. The book of this moment is always open. Its text is simple, sensory, immediate. The feeling of breath. The sound of the furnace kicking on. The weight of your glasses on your nose. It is not a dramatic story. It is a poem of pure being. And it is the only book that is truly, vitally alive. Your practice is to appoint the librarian, and to trust her guidance. Whenever you feel lost in mental labyrinths, just ask, "Where is the librarian?" Feel that shift inward, that settling. That's her. She is always there, waiting to bring you back to the only story that is actually happening. Healing the divide. Body as garden, mind as gardener. We often treat our body and mind as adversaries. The body feels sluggish, the mind scolds it. The mind is anxious, the body tenses up with headaches and knots. In Buddhist understanding, this is a fundamental error. They are not two. The body is the garden. The mind is the gardener. If the gardener is frantic, running around tearing up plants, screaming at the weeds, the garden becomes distressed, chaotic, unable to thrive. If the gardener is utterly absent, neglecting the soil, the garden becomes overgrown and stagnant. Healing begins when the gardener learns to simply walk in the garden. Not to fix, but to behold. To feel the sun, to smell the damp earth, to notice which plants are thriving and which are thirsty. This mindful attention is itself the water and the sunshine. When the gardener walks peacefully, the garden relaxes and grows according to its own innate wisdom. Your scan of the body, then, is not a medical inspection. It is a gardener's loving walk. We'll do this now, not as a chore, but as a reunion. We'll move slowly, with curiosity, not diagnosis. Guided body scan, the gardener's walk. Make sure you are warm and comfortable. Let your eyes close. Allow 3 deep, softening breaths. Now, bring the light of your attention to the very crown of your head. The gardener stands at the garden gate. Simply notice this territory. Is there sensation? Tingling, warmth, coolness, tightness, or perhaps nothing clear at all? Whatever you find, simply acknowledge it. Ah, this is what's here. Breathe into this space, as if sending a gentle mist to this part of the garden. On your exhale, allow any sense of holding to melt downward, like water soaking into soil. No need to change anything. Just visiting. Now, let that attentive light slowly descend to your forehead, your temples. The space behind your eyes. This is where so much of our thinking effort happens. Feel the subtle muscles here. Are they contracted, holding the shape of concentration or worry? Offer them the breath. Imagine your breath is a warm, soothing balm, softening the space between your brows. With each exhale, whisper silently, "It's safe to rest." The thinking can pause. Move down to your jaw. The gateway of speech, of expression. Does it hang loosely, or is there a subtle clench? Without forcing it open, just invite a millimeter of space between your teeth. Let your tongue rest comfortably on the floor of your mouth. Allow the weight of your jaw to be fully supported. Now, descend to the great crossroads of the body, the neck and shoulders. So much of the world's weight metaphorically settles here. Visualize your shoulders as hooks from which heavy bags are hung. On your next exhale, imagine gently lifting those bags off the hooks and placing them on the ground. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back, as if they are two wings settling into a soft nest. Feel the incredible relief of putting down a burden you didn't even know you were carrying so tightly. Bring your gardener's attention into your arms. Down through the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, all the way to your wrists and hands, to the very tips of your fingers. These are your tools for action, for holding, for creating. Thank them for their constant service. Feel any residual energy of doing, of grasping, of readiness. Allow it to drain out through your fingertips, into the earth. Let your hands become heavy, open, receptive, not tools right now, but resting leaves. Now, journey inward to the center of your being, your chest, your heart space. Place a hand there if it feels comforting. Feel the rise and fall. Here lies the organ that has never taken a single break in its service to you. It beats in the darkness of your body, faithful beyond comprehension. Don't analyze it. Just keep it company. With each heartbeat, feel a ripple of gratitude spread outward. This is the sun at the center of your garden. Move down into your abdomen, your belly. The seat of digestion, but also of intuition, of gut feelings. This area often holds our unspoken fears and excitements. Breathe deeply into your belly, letting it swell like a soft balloon. On the exhale, let it fall completely. Imagine any knots, any butterflies, any churning, beginning to unwind and settle, like silt settling in a pond after it's been stirred. Allow a deep, organic calm to radiate from your core. Continue down into your lower back, your pelvis, your hips. The architectural foundation. Feel the solidity of your pelvis, the bowl that holds your vital organs. Sense any holding here, often related to stability, safety, or primal energy. Breathe into the very joints of your hips, imagining space and warmth blooming there. Let this entire basin feel supported, grounded, at ease. Finally, travel down your legs. Your thighs, powerful and strong. Your knees, flexible hinges. Your calves and shins. Your ankles. All the way to your feet, your roots. Feel every point where your feet make contact. Send your awareness into the soles of your feet. Imagine tiny roots extending from them, down through the floor, deep into the supportive, nurturing earth. With each exhale, feel any restlessness, any need to move, drain down these roots into the ground. Your feet are not for going somewhere right now. They are for being here. Fully here. Now, take a panoramic view. Be the gardener standing in the center of the garden, seeing it as one whole, interconnected, living system. Breathe with the entire garden. Feel it alive, pulsing gently with your breath. This is your home. This is your ground of being. Rest here for a few moments, in simple, wordless awareness of the miracle of embodiment. There was a young, frantic river in the high mountains. It knew its destiny was to become one with the great ocean. It rushed down slopes, crashed over rocks, tore through gorges, always straining forward, desperate to reach the end of its journey. It judged itself constantly, not fast enough. That pond to my side is lazy. Look at that boulder slowing me down. It was so busy being a river on its way to the ocean that it never experienced being a river. One day, after a particularly exhausting cascade, it poured into a wide, deep valley. The slope gentled. Its current slowed. For the first time, it could see its own surface. It saw the perfect reflection of the sky. It felt the sun warming its water. It noticed the trout living within it, the reeds bending along its banks. In that slowing, it heard a whisper from the earth, "Little river, you are already the ocean." The river was confused. How can I be the ocean? I am small and separate. The earth replied, "What is the ocean but water? And what are you but water, shaped by the land? Your rushing is because you believe you are separate from your destination. But the ocean's wetness, its essence, is your essence. Every molecule in you has been the ocean, will be the ocean, and is the ocean right now, dreaming it is a river. When you slow down, you feel the truth. You are not going to be water, you are water. Be fully what you are, and you will find you have never left home." The river understood. It didn't stop moving, but the frantic quality left its current. It began to flow with a new dignity, a deep peace. It enjoyed its own ripples, its own sound, the touch of every stone. It realized the journey wasn't about reaching a destination, but about fully being the journey itself. Eventually, it did merge with the vast ocean, but it did so knowing it was not being absorbed by something foreign, it was returning to, and remembering, its own vast self. You are that river. Your life is the flowing. The peace of the ocean is not at the end. It is the very nature of the water that you are, right now. When you stop rushing toward, someday, you taste the ocean in this very breath. Early in my time at the monastery, I was given the task of cleaning a very old, very beautiful ceramic vase that sat in the meditation hall. It was glazed in deep cobalt blue, with a crackle pattern like frost. One morning, my mind was tangled in a problem, and as I polished it, my hand slipped. The vase tipped, hit the stone floor, and shattered into a dozen pieces. Horror flooded me. I had ruined a sacred object. My mind instantly spun into a future of shame. I would be expelled. The master would be furious. I was a failure. I sat amidst the shards, paralyzed by this story. The master heard the crash and came in. He looked at the pieces, then at my stricken face. He said nothing for a long minute. Then, he knelt beside me. He didn't reach for the pieces. He simply placed his hand on his own chest and took a slow, audible breath. Then he said, "The first vase is broken. Do not break the second one." I didn't understand. "Second one?" He pointed gently to my chest. "The vase of your heart. It is clenching, preparing to shatter itself with blame. That one you can choose to keep intact." He picked up a large, curved fragment. "This," he said, tracing the broken edge, "is just clay. It had a form. Now it has another. Your regret has a form, tightness, heat, stories. Can you let that form change too? Can you let it be simply the energy of care, without the story of catastrophe?" He taught me how to perform kintsugi that day, not with gold lacquer, but with the gold of mindful awareness. We gathered every fragment. We didn't rush to glue it back to how it was. We first sat with each piece, feeling its weight, its edge, acknowledging the reality of the break. We acknowledged my carelessness without layering it with an epic of self-loathing. Then, with careful attention, we began to reassemble it. The cracks remained visible, of course. But they became part of its history, not a mark of shame. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, anicca. The vase was always going to break, someday. My idea of myself as a careful, competent student was going to break, too. Suffering, dukkha, arose not from the breaking, but from my rigid attachment to the unbroken form, and the subsequent story of identity I built on the shards. The Master's compassion showed me the third option, non-attachment. Not indifference, but a spacious, compassionate presence with what is, the broken pieces, the regret, the careful hands that would now mend. The repaired vase, cracks and all, sits in my room to this day. It is a more profound teacher than the perfect one ever was. The four postures as sacred anchors. The competitor spoke of four positions. Let's explore them as four sacred anchors, four ways the body itself teaches the mind how to dwell. 1. Sitting as mountain. When you sit, you are not just waiting for the next activity. You are embodying the mountain. The mountain does not fidget. It does not think, "I wish I were taller like that peak over there." It simply sits, majestic in its presence, through all seasons and weather. Your sitting practice is to become the mountain. Feel your sit bones as the base, rooted deep. Your spine is the majestic peak, rising with dignity but without strain. Your head is the summit, resting easily against the sky. Thoughts are clouds passing. Emotions are weather systems moving through. You, as the mountain, remain. Unshaken. Present. Simply say, sitting, "I am the mountain." 2. Standing as tree. To stand is to be a bridge between earth and sky. Feel your feet, your roots, drawing nourishment and stability. Feel your spine, your trunk, alive and upright. Feel your arms and head as branches, open, receiving light and air. A tree does not stand to get somewhere. It stands to be fully alive in its place, offering shelter, breathing, simply being. When you stand in line, at a sink, looking out a window, remember. Standing, I am the tree. 3. Walking as river, walking is flowing. Each step is a current. You are not walking to, you are walking as. Feel the fluid transfer of weight, lift, move, place. Lift, move, place. The river's destination is inherent in its flow. Your destination is inherent in your aware stepping. You arrive with each step. Walk not to escape the present, but to fully inhabit the miracle of movement. Walking, I am the river, arriving everywhere I step. 4. Lying down as valley. Lying down is the practice of total receptivity. The valley does not hold itself up. It is held by the earth. It receives the streams from the mountains, the leaves from the trees, the shadows of clouds. It is deep, quiet, restorative. When you lie down, you are the valley. Allow the earth to hold you completely. Surrender all effort of upholding. Receive rest, receive dreams, receive healing. Lying down, I am the valley, cradled by the earth. These are not exercises to add to your day. They are lenses through which to see the activities you are already doing. They transform posture into prayer, movement into meditation. In a village known for its exquisite tapestries, there was a weaver of great skill. Her patterns were breathtaking: forests, starry skies, intricate mandalas. But over time, she became obsessed with the emerging picture. She would lean so close to the growing tapestry, studying each thread, worrying about each color transition, that she forgot the loom itself. She forgot the steady thump-thump-thump of the petals, the rhythmic passing of the shuttle. Her body ached from tension, her eyes strained, and the joy left her work. The tapestry, under such scrutinizing anxiety, began to look stiff, forced. An elder weaver visited her. Without a word, he placed his hands over her eyes. In the darkness, all she could hear was the sound of her own loom, the creak of the frame, the soft swish of the shuttle, the solid thump as the threads tightened. The elder whispered, "The beauty is not in the picture you are making. The beauty is in the song the loom sings as it makes it. The picture will be what it will be. But you can always listen to the song." She understood. She began to weave with her ears and her body, not just her eyes. She felt the rhythm, became one with the motion. The picture on the tapestry was now a byproduct of her harmonious dance with the loom. It became fluid, alive, magical again, and her pain vanished. Your life is the tapestry. Your thoughts and plans are the emerging picture, which you chronically over-scrutinize. The present moment, the breath, the body, the sensory world, is the loom. Its song is the thump of your heart, the swish of your breath, the feeling of the chair, the sound of the wind. Our suffering comes from leaning into the tapestry of our thoughts, forgetting the living loom of the present. The practice is to close the eyes of frantic thinking, and to listen, to feel, the song of the loom that is your alive body, right now. Weave from there, and the pattern of your life will take care of itself, with grace and ease. You've likely been told to clear your mind. This is perhaps the most frustrating, misguided instruction in meditation. The mind thinks. That's its nature, like the eye sees or the ear hears. Trying to stop thought is like trying to stop the rain by scowling at the sky. A more skillful Buddhist approach is to change your relationship to thought. Imagine your awareness as a vast, clear, open sky. Your thoughts are birds flying through that sky. Some are dark crows of worry. Some are bright songbirds of joy. Some are just plain pigeons of, "What's for lunch?" The problem is not the birds. The problem is that we keep jumping up from our seat on the ground, trying to chase the crows away, or clutching at the songbirds to make them stay. We get into exhausting aerial battles with our own thoughts, or we try to cage them. We identify with the birds, I am that worried crow. This is the essence of delusion. The practice is to remain firmly, gently, seated on the ground. To watch the birds fly. To note, ah, a crow. There goes a songbird. A pigeon. You don't follow them. You don't feed them. You don't fight them. You just acknowledge their presence and let them fly on by. They come, and they go. The sky, your awareness, is never damaged by the birds. It is never stained by the crow, never clingingly colored by the songbird. The sky simply holds the space. When you find yourself caught in a thought, lost in a story, it just means you've accidentally hitched a ride on a bird. The moment you notice, oh, I'm riding a thought bird. That very noticing is you dropping gently back to your seat on the ground. You've returned to being the sky. No blame. Just a gentle, compassionate return. Try it now. Sit for 1 minute. Don't try to change your thoughts. Just be the sky. Notice the thought birds. Label them gently, planning bird, remembering bird, worrying bird. See if you can feel the space around the bird. The silence between the thoughts. That space is your home. That is the harbor. That is the sky. Rest there. On a remote, storm-racked coast, there was a lighthouse. Its keeper was an old man who had lived there for decades. Every night, without fail, he would climb the spiral stairs, light the great lamp, and ensure its lens turned, sending its beams slicing through the darkness. Ships at sea depended on that light to know where the dangerous rocks lay. One ferocious winter, a storm knocked out the radio. For weeks, no ships came. The supply boat couldn't land. The keeper was alone, with no communication, no sign that anyone even remembered he or his light existed. His mind began to whisper, why light the lamp? No one is out there. You're wasting oil. This is pointless. It was the voice of existential doubt, the feeling that our practice is meaningless if no one sees it. But the keeper had a deep discipline. Each evening, as darkness fell, he would ignore the doubting voice. He would perform the ritual. Climb the stairs, light the lamp, watch the beam sweep the empty, heaving sea. He did it not for the ships he couldn't see, but for the principle of the lighthouse. A lighthouse does not light itself only when ships are spotted, it lights itself because that is its nature. It is a standing promise to the darkness, here is safe passage. After a month, the storm abated. The first ship to come through signaled to him with grateful flashes of light. They had been lost, desperate, and his steadfast beam had been the first sign of hope, guiding them home. Our practice of presence is like that. We do not meditate only when we feel peaceful. We do not come home to our breath only when life is easy. We do it as a standing promise to our own inner darkness. We light the lamp of awareness every day, not because the storms have passed or because we feel successful, but because it is our nature to offer ourselves that guidance. Even when we feel alone, adrift, and can't see any tangible result, the act of lighting the lamp, of taking one conscious breath, of feeling the feet on the floor, is itself the healing. It is the promise that safe passage exists, right here, in this moment. Trust the principle of the lighthouse. Keep lighting the lamp. Let's talk directly about healing. Not just relaxation, but the profound, cellular restoration that your body is capable of when you get out of its way. Modern science is just beginning to map what Buddhist wisdom has pointed to for millennia. The body is not a dumb machine. It is a field of innate intelligence. Consider a simple splinter. You don't have to consciously direct your white blood cells to the site, design the pus to push it out, or micromanage the skin's regeneration. Your body knows. It has a blueprint for wholeness, and when given the right conditions, primarily, the condition of rest, it moves toward that wholeness with breathtaking precision. But we live in a culture of interventionism. At the first sign of discomfort, physical or emotional, we panic. We reach for a pill, a distraction, a solution. We treat the body like a faulty appliance, slapping it, cursing it, trying to override its signals. We have forgotten the ancient art of lying down and trusting. An injured animal in the wild doesn't call a therapist or Google its symptoms. It finds a sheltered place, curls up, and becomes very still. It enters a state of profound metabolic rest, redirecting all energy toward repair. It surrenders to the healing intelligence within. We have that same intelligence. We've just buried it under layers of mental noise, anxiety, and the constant imperative to do something. The most radical healing act you can perform is to consciously, deliberately, create the conditions of the wild animal's shelter, a state of deep, trusted rest. This is what our total relaxation practice is. You are not doing healing. You are allowing the healer within to work. In the back of a dusty antique shop, I met a man who restored 18th century grandfather clocks. His workshop was a symphony of silent, waiting timepieces. I asked him his secret. He said, "Most people think the secret is in the fixing. The real secret is in the listening." He showed me a clock that hadn't run in a century. He didn't open it immediately. He sat with it for a long time. He'd gently wind it a fraction and hold it to his ear. "I'm listening for the want," he said. "The want to tick." Under all the rust and gummed oil, the original design, the perfect intention of this clock, is still there. It wants to keep time. My job is to hear that faint, buried want, and then very carefully remove only what's covering it, the dirt, the rust, the broken spring, without disturbing the want itself. He said the worst repairs happen when a fixer comes in with a preconceived solution, forcing new parts, overriding the clock's own original design. That's when you get a clock that runs, but its soul is gone. It ticks with a dead sound. Your being is that antique clock. Your natural state is peace, clarity, wholeness. It is the original, perfect design. Anxiety, stress, depression, pain, these are the rust, the gummed oil, the dust of a century of living. The frantic, self-help mindset is the bad repairman, forcing solutions, trying to install new parts called positive thinking or perfect habits on top of the gunk. The true healing practice is that of the master clockmaker. It is to sit quietly with yourself, in deep, compassionate listening. To sense beneath the surface noise, the pain, the racing thoughts, for the faint, unwavering want, the want for peace, the want for ease, the innate movement toward balance. That is your soul's tick. Your practice of stopping, of breathing, of scanning the body, is not about adding something. It is the gentle, patient removal of the dust and rust, the layers of tension, identification, and story, that are muffling your own perfect, inherent tick. Trust the original design. It is still there, wanting to sing. When physical pain or strong emotion arises, our instinct is to contract, to resist, to declare war. I hate this. Go away. This resistance creates a secondary layer of suffering. The suffering of fighting suffering. It's like being poked by a thorn, and then slamming your fist on the spot in anger, driving it in deeper. Buddhist psychology offers a counterintuitive path, turning toward. Not with masochism, but with investigative curiosity. The practice is to create a little space around the sensation. To breathe into the very center of the tightness, the ache, the fear. To change your relationship from, "this is terrible and happening to me," to, "this is a sensation, happening in the field of my awareness." Imagine the painful sensation as a clenched fist held in the palm of your other hand. Your habitual mind is the hand trying to crush the fist, to make it unclench by force. It only makes the fist tighter. Mindfulness is the hand that simply, gently, holds the fist. Warmly, patiently, without pressure. It offers space. It says, "I feel you. You can be here." Often, miraculously, held in that kind of allowance, the fist begins to relax on its own. The pain may not vanish, but its threatening, overwhelming quality softens. It becomes just another weather pattern in the sky of you. This is the essence of compassion, karuna. It begins with self-compassion. Holding your own pain as you would hold a frightened child, not with solutions, but with presence. I am here with you. This is hard. We can breathe with this. A man was hired as a night watchman for a vast, echoing museum. On his first night, his lantern cast huge, looming shadows of the statues onto the walls. One shadow, in particular, looked like a monstrous, coiled serpent ready to strike. The watchman was terrified. He spent the night frozen, eyes glued to the terrifying shadow, his heart pounding. The next night, the same thing. And the next. He was exhausted, living in constant fear of the shadow beast. Finally, one night, in a moment of desperate courage, he decided to walk toward the shadow. His legs shook as he approached the statue casting it. Step by trembling step, he got closer. The shadow on the wall grew larger, more distorted. But as he finally stood right before the statue itself, he laughed out loud. It was a small, beautifully carved piece of a woman peacefully weaving a basket. The coiled serpent was the shadow of the basket's curved handle, magnified and distorted by the angle of the light. The monster was just a misinterpretation of a harmless shape. Our difficult emotions and pains are often like that. From a distance, in the dim light of our fear and avoidance, they cast monstrous, overwhelming shadows on the walls of our mind. We spend our energy fearing the shadow. The practice of mindfulness is gathering the courage to walk toward the source. To bring the light of close, kind attention to the actual sensation, the raw feeling in the body. When we do, we often find the monster is a manageable, often innocent, sensation that we had misinterpreted and magnified with our story. The fear of the pain is almost always worse than the pain itself. Walk toward it. Shine the light of gentle awareness on it. See what it actually is. Your restlessness may not be entirely yours. In Buddhism, we understand that we are not isolated selves. We are part of a stream, a continuum. We inherit more than eye color and family recipes, we inherit psychic and energetic patterns. The habit energy of anxiety, of never feeling quite at home, of constant striving, this can be a family heirloom, passed down through generations who lived through war, famine, poverty, or simply the relentless pressure to survive. Your grandfather who worked 3 jobs and never sat still. Your grandmother who worried through every night. Their nervous systems adapted to real challenges, and that adaptation, a constant, low-grade emergency setting, became the baseline. It was passed to your parents, and then to you. You may be the first generation with the physical safety and time to even question this constant inner motion. When you practice stopping, you are doing something revolutionary. You are not just calming yourself. You are healing the lineage. You are sending a ripple backward through time, saying to the struggles of your ancestors, it is safe to rest now. The war is over. The famine has passed. We can stop running. And you are sending a ripple forward, creating a new inheritance for those who come after you, the inheritance of presence, of peace, of knowing how to be at home. You are breaking a chain. And in that breaking, you honor the struggle of those who came before you by claiming the peace they couldn't access. Your calm is an act of profound familial love. In a temple forgotten by time, there hung a great bronze bell. It was so ancient that the villagers had forgotten its purpose. They assumed it was broken, for it never made a sound. Centuries passed. Leaves gathered on its head, birds nested in its yoke. One day, a child wandering the temple took a small stone and, playfully, tapped it against the bell's edge. A sound emerged, so pure, so deep, so vast that it seemed to come from the center of the earth. It vibrated through the stone of the temple, through the ground, through the very bones of the listening villagers. It wasn't a loud sound, but a profoundly present one. It resonated for minutes, humming in the air, touching everything. The elders were astounded. They asked the temple's soul, ancient monk, why did the bell never ring before? The monk smiled. It was never struck. We spend our lives like that silent bell, covered in the dust of busyness, assuming our true sound, our peace, our clarity, our love, is broken or missing. We feel hollow. We are waiting for some giant mallet of achievement, relationship, or enlightenment to crash into us and finally make us ring. The truth is simpler. Your true sound is always there, perfect and whole. It is not created, it is revealed. The practice of mindfulness, the conscious breath, the feeling of the feet, the listening, is the gentle, persistent tapping of the stone against your own edge. Each mindful moment is a tap. Tick. A tiny resonance. Talk. Another. You are not building a sound from silence. You are uncovering the majestic, deep, resonant sound that has been there all along, waiting for the contact of your own compassionate attention. You are not broken. You are a bell, awaiting your own gentle strike. This is where the rubber meets the road. How does this become a life, not just a 3-hour session? It's about micro-moments of return. You don't need hour-long sits, though they are wonderful. You need faithful, tiny homecomings. The phone pause. Before you unlock your phone, take one breath. Feel your feet. Be here first, then check there. The doorway transition: every time you walk through a doorway, let it be a mindfulness bell. Entering here, I arrive. Leaving here, I am present. The red light refuge: traffic lights are not annoyances, they are enforced meditation periods. Feel the steering wheel. Listen to the idle of the engine. Breathe. The first sip: with the first sip of your morning tea or coffee, just drink. Don't plan. Don't review. Just taste, feel the warmth, be there completely. The exhaustion signal: when you feel that wave of tiredness or overwhelm, don't push through. Stop. Place a hand on your heart. Breathe into that hand for 3 cycles. This is not wasting time. It is the most productive thing you can do, reconnecting to your source. These are not added tasks. They are shifts in attention within tasks you're already doing. They weave the thread of awareness through the fabric of your day, until the fabric itself becomes luminous with presence. A student potter was devastated. After weeks on the wheel, she had finally created a bowl she thought was perfect. Symmetrical, smooth, beautiful. As she went to place it on the high drying shelf, it slipped from her hands and shattered on the stone floor. She wept in frustration. Her teacher, an old woman with clay under her nails, came over. She didn't comfort her with words. Instead, she picked up 2 large fragments. She handed one to the student and kept one for herself. "Close your eyes," she said. "Don't think of it as a broken bowl. Feel it. Just feel it." The student, confused, closed her eyes. She felt the curve of the shard, the roughness of the broken edge, the smoothness of the glazed surface. She felt its coolness, its weight. "What do you feel?" the teacher asked. "I feel clay. And glaze. And an edge." "Is it beautiful?" The student paused. "The curve is beautiful. The feel of the glaze is beautiful. Is it here?" "Yes." "Then you have lost nothing," the teacher said. "The idea of a perfect bowl is gone. But the reality of clay, of curve, of presence, that is more vivid now than ever. You are holding the essence, without the concept. Sometimes, things need to break for us to touch what's real. We chase the perfect bowl, the perfect peaceful state, the perfect day, the perfect life. And when life inevitably shatters that idea, we suffer. But what if the breaking reveals something more real? The raw feeling of this moment, without the story of what it should be. The sensation of the breath, without the demand for it to be calmer. The feeling of sadness, without the label of failure. In the breaking of our concepts, we are handed the fragments of direct experience. And in those fragments, we can find a beauty and a reality far more profound than any perfect, untouchable bowl on a high shelf. Embrace the shards of your present experience. They are your doorway to the real. 2 travelers set out to see a famous mountain that was said to hold a secret peace. The first traveler was eager, ambitious. He charted the fastest route. He pushed hard, hiking through the night, his eyes always on the summit. He barely noticed the forests he passed through, the streams he drank from, the changing light on the rocks. He reached the summit exhausted, looked out at the view, took a picture, and thought, "Is this it?" He felt a vague disappointment. The descent was just a weary retracing of steps. The second traveler was different. She walked slowly. She stopped often. She felt the spring of moss under her boots. She listened to the wind in the pines. She sat by streams and let the cold water numb her feet. She watched insects on leaves. When rain came, she found an overhang and simply watched the curtain of water. She wasn't focused on the summit, she was in love with the walking itself. When she finally arrived at the top, she wasn't surprised by the view. She had already been seeing it, piece by piece, in every rock and tree. The summit was just a wider perspective of the beauty she'd already been living in. Her descent was a continuation of the same joyful discovery. The mountain is your life. The summit is death, or enlightenment, or any future goal. The first traveler is how most of us live, striving for the peak, missing the path. The second traveler is the practice of mindful presence, the path itself is the destination. Every step is the secret peace. You don't find peace at the end of the journey. You bring peace to the journey, and then you realize you've been home the whole time. Closing, your continuous arrival. Our time of formal guidance is coming to a close. But your practice is just beginning. You now carry with you the essential map. The core understanding, you are the harbor, not the storm-tossed ship. The anchor phrase, rooted in the earth. Open to the sky. Here, I rest. The postures, mountain, tree, river, valley. The practice, the gardener's walk, the sky watching birds, the gentle strike on the bell, the listening for the original tick. The integration, micro moments of return throughout your day. Remember, you are not practicing to become peaceful. You are practicing because you are peace, and you are clearing away the dust that hides that truth. Some days the dust will be light. Some days it will feel like a mudslide. Your job is not to judge the dust, but to keep gently wiping the mirror of your awareness. You have everything you need. It is all right here. In the feeling of your breath entering and leaving. In the weight of your body on the chair. In the space between your thoughts. You have already arrived. You are already home. Thank you for sharing this sacred time with me at Monk's Temple. May you walk gently through your days. May you remember the lighthouse keeper's faith. May you listen to the song of your own loom. And may your presence, calm, rooted, open, be a gift of peace to everyone you meet, and most of all, to yourself. The journey continues now, dear friend. Not in 3 hours, but in 3 seconds. In your next breath. In your next heartbeat. Rooted in the earth. Open to the sky. Here, you rest. Go in peace.